My unit, we got a good show for you today. Amped up with BC Wednesday, April the 2 of the year 2025. We are going to talk some NXT in today's upload. Now, I know a lot of you guys might not even watch NXT, but trust me when I say you're going to want to grab your beverage, sit back, max, relax while BC drops the facts match by match. Because NXT, man, I don't know what happened to Shawn Michaels. Maybe he thought, you know what, if HHH isn't going to produce a good Mania season, I'll pick up the slack. I'll put the company on my back. And NXT, man, Stephanie starting the show, relinquishing, vacating one of her titles. You ain't going to believe this and what it leads to. Even though it's going to be a schmaz, BC is looking forward to this match more than anything that WWE is producing on the main roster for Mania. What is that match? We'll talk about it. Which title did Stephanie relinquish? Well, I think you guys know. I mean, if you have a heavyweight or a world title and you have a mid-card title, you ain't relinquishing the world title more than likely. But maybe she did. We'll talk about it. And also the North American Championship for the dudes. A new champion crowned last night. Was Shawn Spears done dirty? Yeah. But you're not going to believe who the champion is. Do you guys remember Ricky Starks from AEW? That's where I'm going to leave it. I know a lot of you guys don't watch NXT. You're like, no, they did not put the title on Ricky Starks. I'm not saying anything right now. I'm just saying this is the cold open. I will just say, oh, when the Saints go marching in. Oh, when the Saints go marching in. BC's had a lot of coffee. We'll talk about the North American Championship for the dudes, the North American Championship for the ladies. Man, that was the title that was making all the news, those two titles. But also you had Rok-C last night. Roxanne, Perez, Rok-C taking on Kelani Jordan, two of the best females in today's pro wrestling. And they locked it up last night with a lot on the line. We'll talk about that. And one of the best segments I've seen produced in pro wrestling. Main roster, any company. Last night involving Tony D and the fam. Intel on the Dark State. The way that this was produced, I'm waiting until I get to that part of this review because I have so much praise that the cold open teaser cannot handle it. I cannot believe how well that was done because it accomplished so much. Not just being entertaining. It accomplished so much for the individuals involved, the talent. What a concept. Doing something that is both entertaining and valuable, meaningful, and not a detriment to the talent. What a concept. We'll talk about it. This was all on NXT last night, guys. So that's why I'm going to give you guys a rundown, a little bit of a NXT review for 4/1/25, first day of April. That kind of upsets BC, man. I didn't do my April Fools on you guys. I would have given you guys a Rickroll or something like I usually do. You've been Rickrolled. I forgot it was April Fool's Day yesterday. Damn it. And we will talk Swerve Strickland opening up on his relationship or lack thereof with Hunter Hearst Helmsley. How Helmsley interacted with Swerve, how Hunter is backstage, and this is not throwing shade at Hunter. Swerve is not doing that. Swerve is just speaking his truth. And it's unfortunate that it's the same truth we've heard from so many other talents and how Hunter is and how much bullshit that he gives his own talent and makes them or tries to make them believe it. And then when they're out of a job, oopsies, you ain't going to get any condolences from Helmsley. It's sad. I'll give you guys an exact quote because Swerve had a lot to say. This was in a recent interview on some podcast, I believe. DJ Vlad, maybe? Hopefully I'm getting that correct. But this was so just eye-opening. And it's just another notch to try to get people to see the reality behind the scenes. But there's just so many people that are afraid to speak up, just like they were for Vince. They are for Hunter. They don't want to lose their job there, or they hope to one day get a job in World Wrestling Entertainment. And so they kind of walk on eggshells. But it's really cool when you have people like Bobby Lashley, MVP, and so many others like say, you know what? I don't care about that, man. This is my truth. This is how he talked to us. And this is the lack of relationship we had. And this is why we were being held down. Like, this is the exact reason. These are the talks that we had. Wait till you guys hear it, man. I'll give you exact quotes from Swerve. This was so... this was just like, damn. Like, you already know, but when you keep hearing these stories, it's... I don't know. It's kind of sad, man. So, it's weird. It's like Hunter is just a different variation of Vince McMahon in so many ways. So we'll talk that as well, and we'll kick it all off with some Raw numbers, right? It's only fitting. We talked some SmackDown yesterday, a lot of SmackDown, and how that number just collapsed with the contract signing. Roman, CM Punk, and Rollins, and the rating just imploded. It's clear that them three together is not a draw for the majority of the fans, let alone a main event for Mania. So WWE, man, they're going to look at these numbers, and they're going to go, uh-oh, this ain't good. Now I'll give you the Raw numbers. And as they said in Home Alone, remember when Home Alone 2, what was it? McAllister's character gets in the taxi cab in New York. Get out of it. We got to get out of here. It's wild out there or something. And the cab driver turns around. It ain't much better in here, kid. Raw's like, it ain't much better over here, kid. We'll talk about it. Swig of coffee. It's amped up. It's the 2nd of April, 2025. No opening signature. Just hold tight. I'm just going to get a swig. We're going to jump right into it. All right, 2 swigs, too. They made my extra good today, the fine folks over at Dunkin'. Still don't have my Monster 6000 coffee machine yet. Coffee bar turned into the sports bar. Actually, that should be a thing, right? We should have a coffee sports bar. Hey, we got to jump into that idea. All right, so let's start off with Raw's numbers, guys. They lost. I'm just going to get right into it, right? We ain't going to beat around the bush. They lost 100,000 viewers. Now, mind you, this is from last week. Netflix only distributes a week late. So this is last week's. And they lost 100,000 in views from the week before. They're roughly 3-1. They were just under 3 mil globally. That's globally, guys, not U.S., not just U.S. Globally, just under 3 million. If you're wondering, yes, that is half of what they started with just a few months ago at the beginning of January. So you would hope as you get closer to Mania and there's enough excitement, your numbers will go up even if it's the slightest. So if you had 3.1 the week previous, you're hoping 3.2, 3.3 bare minimum. They didn't do that. They lost. They went just under 3 million globally. They won't distribute the actual number for domestic for US anyway. We believe, us numbers guys have come to the conclusion that they're still hovering 1-2. We might be being generous. It might have dipped to 1-1. We have no evidence that it went to 1-3. None at all. So, you do your math there. You remember their old minimum, their old average on the USA Network Raw was around 1.5-ish. There's times it was 1.4, it was that bad, and there was times it was 1.6 as an average. Guys, their new average is 1.2. So Netflix didn't help them. Netflix didn't bring new viewers. Netflix, it's fallen by nearly 400,000 viewers on average, 1.2, US-wise. So for the US, 1-2, not good. And in WrestleMania, the numbers are showing us that WrestleMania, usually every year there's a WrestleMania boost. SmackDown, Raw, doesn't matter, all programming, they get a boost. Guys, we're seeing that not only is there not a boost, these shows are going backwards. They're losing viewers as we're getting closer to Mania. Well, that shit ain't good. But BC's the only one that's going to call this out. And I'm just dropping facts. I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm not giving you guys like a wild narrative or I have an agenda in the community. I'm just giving you facts. But we'll be the bad guys in the AMP unit, right? Oh, we're harsh. We're negative. Focus on the positive, basically. Well, give us the positive. Give me a WrestleMania match card that we're like, damn, I can't wait 3 weeks for this. Now, what is it? How many days away now? Thursday, Friday, so 17 days away from Mania. And guys, there's a whole night's card that's unannounced. We don't know like 7 or 8 matches still, bare minimum. We still have to find out, and they're going to be chucked at us during the last couple weeks. When are we going to have time to digest them, let alone have a real feud built up, a storyline? This is bad. You guys know that. I'm not telling you any info that you don't already know. I'm just the only one in the community that's got the balls to say it to you and not sugarcoat or bullshit you. So fuck yeah. I have to give you guys these numbers because every time we review, I can speak. Every time that we review these shows, I have to speak that truth and tell you how bad they are. And when the numbers come out, it backs up everything I say. There's plenty in the community that give you all the rainbow shitting sprinkled cupcakes, right? Tell you that these shows are so good, they're so excited. They're faking that enthusiasm. And that's clear because when the numbers come out, the shows are not as good as they said they were. They're not even good. The numbers are going backwards. If only you had a real reviewer tell you what was going on in these shows so the numbers backed it up. Oh yeah, that's BC. When I speak about these shows, the numbers will always back it up. That's why I tell you guys I'm giving you factual reviews. Not just a fan who's got a take. I'm just a fan that wants to review the show. Listen to my take on it, right? I want to give you all my opinions on it. Guys, I'm telling you what is good and what is bad, what is working, what it's not. I don't have time to just be a fan that just wants to talk about the wrestling shows. I need to make pro wrestling great again. Either you're a part of that solution or you're just a part of the problem. If you're part of the problem, kick rocks, das boot. No time for that shit. This is a different channel. We're literally giving you what's good and bad. If you can take the reality of it and stay amplified, awesome. If you're going to cry about the reality that pro wrestling's in the shitter and WWE is putting together a Mania season that is more than forgettable and downright unacceptable, then that's on you. If you can't accept the amplification, kick rocks. It's not an airport. You don't got to announce the departure. But if you truly want this product to be the best it can be and pro wrestling to be what it once was and even better maybe one day, then we have to be honest about this. This is the time to do it. This is the channel to do it. We're not just being harsh or negative or how we review these shows just to hear ourselves talk. We have to speak this so that the powers that be can fix this. When I give a review and I say how bad these shows are, the numbers always back it up, don't they? It's not like I'm saying, oh, this show sucked, and then the numbers come out and there's like 500 viewer increase. Well, then, yeah, BC would shut the mic and be like, all right, we're done. That's a wrap. I'm just a fan giving a take at that point. I'm beyond that, man. Maybe if I was 12 years old, I'd just be a fan talking about the show, right? No. Telling you how amazing everything is. I'm past that. I'm way beyond that. Now I'm literally telling you what is good, what is bad, factually. Metrics, statistics, numbers. We'll always have facts that can back up what we're saying. I'm done with opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one and they're usually full of shit. I don't care about our opinions, not even my own. Let's talk facts. SmackDown sucked. You had 3 dudes in there, Roman, Rollins, and Punk, signing a contract with nothing on the line, and then it's announced it's the main event. Forgive us, not sorry if a lot of us are not in line with this weird match out of nowhere with nothing on the line with 3 baby faces because there's a favor and Paul Heyman might turn on somebody. Well, shit. Take my wallet out, pick a card. No, thank you. Forgive us, not sorry if we're not excited for Jason Uso versus Gunther. Jey Uso and Gunther. You know, the match that happened at Saturday night's main event before the Rumble when Jason Uso was looking up at the lights. And now the bell rings and Jason Uso can barely get past a minute without 16 botches. I like Jey, but you know what? This ain't the position for him. Sometimes when you call yourself main event, maybe you're just not main event. And even WWE booted the dude. Now he's middle of the show Jey Uso. Kickoff Jey Uso? Doesn't matter where he is on the card. That match is not intriguing a lot of us. Putting Braun Breaker in there with 3 other dudes in a schmaz championship match is not fitting. It's not doing it for us. Putting all your tag teams together in one match is not It's not doing anything for us. Putting Rhea Ripley in there with a match with Bianca and Io. That is bullshit, lazy, unacceptable booking. Bianca won the Chamber. It's a one-on-one title match. Not in WWE. It's got to be a triple threat. Let's throw as many individuals as we can in these matches. The crowds won't give a shit because they already paid $10,000. They just want to show up, have a sing-along, scream, "This is awesome," and then go online later and say, "I was there. This show was amazing." BC's rocking, dude. There's a reason we're at the top of what we do in this community. It's because we don't bullshit. There's no sugarcoating. We're gonna make pro wrestling great again, and we gotta do it being honest. WrestleMania fucking sucks. Thank goodness for NXT last night. Stand and Deliver is actually piquing my interest a little bit. SmackDown? Nope. Raw? Nope. It's amazing on Raw, right? Two things happened that's noteworthy. Two things. John Cena showed up, thankfully, and he lit up Cody Rhodes. And then the only other headline was Jey Uso got zip-tied, and Jimmy Uso snapped some blood capsules on his forehead to make it look like he was bleeding, and boom, there you go. You had people going, Raw was amazing this week, because John Cena threw some bars at Cody, and Jey Uso got zip-tied while Jimmy was bloodied. Okay, 2 moments on a 3-hour show, over 2.5 hours. 2 moments. And fans today are willing to say, what a great Raw. The show sucked. But that's how WWE has trained their audience to accept mediocrity. That even people in the community I once respected are like, that was a good Raw. That was a good Raw. Jimmy Uso wore the mask. Jay was zip-tied, and Cody Rhodes got burnt in the kitchen while Cena was cooking. Or something. I don't know. Somebody overcooked the pasta. I don't even know what happened. But 2 things happened, and now everybody's like, so good. They're forgetting about the rest of the fucking show. Okay, you just saw Penta and Braun Breaker, your champion, get defeated in a pointless tag match. You saw a main event where Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair look like even more clowns in a circus than ever before. You had Tyler Bate tag up with Pete Dunne, the heel, and Pete Dunne just shows up as a face, and he gets beat by 2 other heels, the New Day. We still don't know what we're doing with the New Day, so they're going to fast-track a tag title match. The War Raiders come out, and they stare at each other, and the crowd gives 0 reaction. That was the rest of Raw. What's good about it? We took 2 things. John Cena lit up Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso got zip-tied, and Jimmy got bloodied. This Raw is amazing! And you start seeing things like, now it's WrestleMania season. 2 things got you from flipping from, this sucks, this is not a Mania season, to Mania season is now cooking? These people, man. And you can't even blame them, because WWE has trained them to accept the mediocrity. So even when they try to tell the truth, it only takes a show or 2 for them to be beaten down into submission again. All right, WWE, you gave us 2 good things this week. BC's rocking, man. One truth bomb after another. That's what we do. Monday Night Raw went backwards in the ratings last week. Again, it's a week behind. But they're going backwards. SmackDown just lost 300,000 from the average of 1.6. The week previous was a 1.4 semi. That was a tape show even more in length of hours, by the way. This was just a 1-hour difference. Italy ended at 7. The show went on the air at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So the week previous was more of a tape delay, and they pulled over 100,000 viewers more. So no matter what metric you look at, Raw and SmackDown are going backwards as we get closer to Mania. I'm the only dude in the community that's been telling you guys that's the only outcome because the shows suck. Other people are trying to tell you these shows are getting good and they're getting better, but the ratings are showing you that's bullshit. Only BC's telling the truth. You're welcome. I don't need the pat on the back. I don't even need a thank you. I just need everybody to stay amplified and keep speaking that truth, just like BC. These shows suck, and until we hold Hunter Hearst Helmsley and WWE accountable so that they can raise their bar and raise their standards, nothing's going to change. What was cool about yesterday's upload is not just talking about SmackDown's rating, but we actually went into a bigger conversation has much more. There's much more power behind the conversation that we had, and that's WWE taking more and more of our money, ticket prices, everything's going up. They're more than happy and more than urgent to take our money, but they seem to be giving us less and less as we give them more and more. And the fans show up and they continue to chant, "You deserve it," to every single wrestler that goes out there and accomplishes anything. If you laced up your boots correctly, you deserve it. When do the fans finally look in the mirror and say, we deserve it? We deserve a better product for what we're paying. You want to keep raising your prices, that's fine. But you can't raise your prices and keep giving us worse and worse television. If you're going to raise your prices, the bare minimum you can do is raise your standards. If you're new to the channel, welcome. You just learned I'm BC Amplified. We are amplified and we don't fuck around. Swig of coffee, let's go on to our other subject here. Where do you guys want to go with this? We'll go Swerve, and then I have a lot to say about NXT. Damn, BC's on, huh? The hell was in that? What was in that coffee today? BC is rocking out. Damn. Veteran subscribers are like, all right. That's why we sub to this channel. Guys, Swerve is the latest in a lot of wrestlers finally speaking up about their frustrations. Montez, who's a part of the company, it was really cool to hear him start talking about his frustrations to the point where finally they got some gold, like Hunter's like, damn, we can't lose Montez. He's pissed off. We got to make this look good optic wise. Bobby Lashley and MVP, they did not shy away. Bobby Lashley and MVP said straight up, like, we tried to have a relationship with Hunter. He didn't want it. Like, we just could not be one of his guys. He did not want to really have that relationship with us. And that was evident. I mean, he did not know how to book. I can't say that, though. Maybe he doesn't know how to book, and he doesn't look like he knows how to book anybody, but I don't think he wanted to book Bobby Lashley or MVP in any good position when they wanted to try to recreate Hurt Business. Because we all can agree Hurt Business ended too soon under Vince. So they tried to go to H. They did go to H, and they said, hey, well, can we try this again? And Hunter said, no. Nope. And they didn't know why. They're like, do you have epic plans for? Nope. I don't want to do that. But the fans want it. The fans actually like the Hurt Business. They all said it ended too soon. Let's just give it one more. Nothing. And then you hear Bobby Lashley and MVP talk about their relationship with Hunter and how they could not gel. They couldn't get on the same page. They didn't click until they were out of the company. But it's just so many, and it's pretty cool now to hear Swerve. This is not shade. This is just his truth, right? There's going to be some people who are like, oh, he's bitter. He's this. He's getting a ton of money, and he's a top guy right now in AEW. He's fine. He's about to become their world champion. And if you hear this dude, if you watch this interview, he is not upset or furious. He's not throwing any shade. He was asked about Hunter Helmsley and their relationship, if there is one. And this is his truth. Swerve Strickland says, and I quote, I always felt he positioned me in a way that wouldn't overtake other talent. I have to repeat that, guys. Swerve says this about Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I always felt he positioned me in a way that wouldn't overtake other talent. He would say, oh, that was a great performance. And I'd be like, great, give me more. And he'd be like, not yet. I'd always ask him, what do I have to do to be one of your guys? No answer. 3 months later, every 3 months, same question. I want to be one of your guys. What do I have to do? Finally, a year goes by, and I'm like, what's stopping me from being one of your guys? And you could tell I backed him into a corner. He was like, uh-oh, he's figuring out my shit. Because Triple H has a way of running you around to where you started the conversation. How wild is that, guys? It's what I always tell you. I always tell you he just speaks in circles and he never says anything. You could listen to any one of his media scrums. He just says things in circles. Nothing ever has substance or meaning. He is so used to bullshitting people that I honestly believe he believes his own bullshit now. And he believes that what he is saying for 10 minutes actually has any substance. Meanwhile, everybody else is like, what did this dude just say? I want to say that line again, guys. He says, and you could tell I backed him into a corner because he was like, uh-oh, he's figuring out my shit. Because Triple H has a way of running you around to where you started the conversation. And I picked up on that. And I stopped him from running around it again. The day I knew I was being bullshitted was when they put me on 205 Live. I had the crowd chanting, not "This is awesome," but "Let's go Swerve." Everybody on their feet cheering for me. I was praised by not just the fans, but the talent when I got to the back. Then they sent me back to the Performance Center to learn arm drags again. If the end game is to get me to the main roster, why am I being benched? That's where me and Triple H clashed, and we just didn't gel. Man, how wild is that? Also how sad is that as well? That another talent is telling us how many times they tried to go to Hunter Helmsley and say, what can I do? What do I have to do? You tell me, because you're telling me I'm doing good. You're telling me everything is good. Everything is awesome. Just wait your turn, right? Now's not your time. And you go another 3 months and you're having all these good matches and the crowd's behind you. And you're like, now can I go to the next? No, wait your time, kid. Until you're out of a job. And Hunter's not calling you or telling you, dude, what happened? That wasn't me. You hear nothing. You hear crickets. All you heard all along was, oh, good matches. You're doing great. And when you try to say, hey, what can I do to get even better? What can I do to be one of your dudes, like a go-to guy that you know you can depend on? Tell me anything. I'll do it right now. How many people try to have Hunter work with them, and Hunter is just giving them the runaround until they get released? Baron Corbin just recently, it was so eye-opening because all these talents, they try to say the same thing, right? I thought we had a good relationship, right? Hunter would always tell us how we're doing good and all those Papa H speeches. And then Baron's like, the last thing I was told is that you should be really proud of yourself. You accomplished a lot. They were praising him. And I was thinking when I heard that, like, those are the last words you hear before you're out of a company, right? Those are the words you hear right before you're fired. He should have known. And Hunter walked up to him and said, you should be proud of yourself, man. You accomplished so much. You're doing great. And then a week later, he's fired. He's released. They don't re-sign Baron Corbin. And it's just kind of, well, it's not funny at all, actually. It's sad, as I said, but it's like wild. Like, they're not just honest. Like, either I just don't have anything for you, or just be even more, I just don't like you, and we're going to end your contract. You're no longer with the company, right? We don't click. That would be better than just being told you're doing great every day or every week, and then one day just being fired and nobody telling you what happened. Because like Baron said, like, that's the thing that eats them up, and so many talents have said the same thing. What eats them up is they were told they were doing good, everything's good, the next level is going to come soon, and then they're fired or they're released, or the company doesn't renew the contract, and nobody tells them why. The same guy that was buttering them up and feeding them all this bullshit, being their papa, right? Papa H, I'm going to take care of you, young one, right? Pat him on the head. When they're fired, Papa H isn't speaking to them anymore because they're no longer with the company. What happened to Papa H? What happened to such a good relationship? To this day, Baron says he's heard nothing. He told Randy the story. Randy was pissed off. Randy said, I'm calling H now. Baron's like, no, dude, stop. Like, please don't do that. The talent's getting pissed. Like, dude, that you don't treat talent like that. You lie to them nonstop, and then you fire them, or they're out of the company. You don't even have a minute to say, dude, it's Hunter. Like, sorry, man, this is what happened. It's bullshit. And I'm glad that more talent is speaking up and going, this is how it really is. Hunter gives you a runaround. He does not want to take certain dudes to the top. And even if you're good or you're over or you should be going to that next level, if you're not a Hunter guy, you stay stymied or you stay stagnant or you get out of the company. You're DOS booted. That's just the way it is. It's a different version of Vince McMahon, just in a different way, just a roundabout way. And Swerve is like, that's why we didn't gel. That's why we couldn't click. I tried everything. Sound familiar? Bobby just said that in MVP. They said they went to him so many times. They tried everything. Hunter didn't want to work with them like that. He just didn't want to work with Bob Lashley and MVP, and Swerve is just the latest to say such. Some people bring in another reasoning for that, and there could be something to that. I don't know. That all started with the Booker T thing years ago when Booker was ready for that next level, and we know that HHH went to Vince and they had some side conversations, and Booker never won that championship. Booker never went to that next level. Booker tries to stay professional about that to this day, but fans, everybody in the know knows that dude got... that screwed up a lot for Booker T, man. And that was all Hunter Hearst Helmsley in the conversations he had sidebar-wise with HHH. But guys, it just doesn't end with black wrestlers. I mean, this is just a laundry list. LA Knight's the most recent too. He's a white dude. But look what he did to Test and took him out of that Stephanie McMahon storyline, inserted himself, which just bolstered his own status. I mean, there's so many wrestlers that just got absolutely bonked upside the dome piece with the sledgehammer, the proverbial sledgehammer, or the golden shovel of Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And now it just continues, but now he's wearing a suit and tie and he's got even more power. And all these wrestlers are basically just, you either fall in line and you speak good, or you have the balls to open up and speak your truth, no matter what the consequence. And that's what Swerve is doing. Swerve is like, dude, you asked a question. This is how it is. The dude gives you a runaround, and if you're not his guy, you're going to continue to get that until you DOS booted. I'm proud of Swerve, man. One of the coolest dudes you'll ever come across. And again, this was not him throwing shade at H. I assure you. There's people that just, they don't want to hear that HHH can do any bad or can be any type of a scumbag. They don't want to hear anything like that. No, earmuffs. Hunter's saving wrestling. No, Hunter's a detriment to it, who doesn't have a creative fucking bone in his body, it seems. If only we had creativity in this company. But even worse, chief of content. The talent is under his thumb. So a lot of people, just like we said about Vince, a lot of people that should be in that top spot, if you're not one of his guys, you ain't getting it. LA Knight, I don't know if he's ever getting a world title. This dude might flounder around a mid-card championship that has been devalued by Hunter Hearst Helmsley 85 billion times over. His ceiling, I believe, is the mid-card championship. Some people will be fine with that, but all right. LA Knight's not related to The Rock, so that might be his ceiling. Swerve! I got to give a shout out to my man, Swerve. What an interview, man. And thank you for keeping it 100. Thank you for keeping it real. Hunter Hearst Helmsley is not untouchable just because he plays the king of wrestling. No. IRL, he's not the king of kings. He's a regular dude. Thankfully for him, he got in tight with the boss's daughter. Now he wears a shiny tie. And he has control of all creative and talent. That doesn't mean the talent has to fall in line and that Swerve cannot speak his truth. Salute to that dude. And salute to all the talent that has to put up with that bullshit backstage. So we talk some NXT. Come on. Let's get amplified. Yeah. If you're wondering, yes, BC's had about, what is it, still the AM, right? Yeah, getting into the, BC's already had about 6 or 7 coffees. So this would be, number 8. So yeah, we amped up, possibly. But in my defense, I started real early this morning, man. We were up in the gym about 3:15-ish, clanging and banging. So... And it was leg day, too. So, I like to see you pop in the tunes and really give an extra 30, 45 minutes, man. So when I deliver a super kick, I put some bitches through walls. You're in the Starbucks line. Somebody gives you the side. I give them a super kick. They go through the wall. They wind up at the AT&T store. Where did you come from? You busted through my wall. You came across BC, didn't you? BC doesn't skip leg day. Yeah. All right, everybody calm down. Everybody's scared now. Oh, shit, man. BC's wild. So Stephanie Vaquer, center of the ring for this NXT 4/1/2025. Stephanie relinquishes her NA Championship. Her Women's North American title is now vacant. I couldn't believe it, man. On one hand, I'm okay with this. On the other hand, I'm like, no, NXT's crowd was pissed. They were not holding it. They were like, nah, HBK, not happening. Put that title right back on your shoulder and you get out as double champ. But in an attempt to further the division is Stephanie's reasoning, right? She wants the title to be defended as it should be. And because she's a double champ, she might not be able to kind of own up to that. Because she'll have other title matches that she'll have to, of course, attend to, or have 2 matches at a time on a night, and probably not a road she wants to travel on. So in an attempt to further the division, she relinquishes that North American title. Jada Parker, Jordan Grace then come out to the ring, 2 of my favorites in the industry. They're out to state their claim for the world title, I'm guessing, correct? Or maybe they want the North American. Maybe they want all the titles. But Jada Parker, Jordan Grace, they've had a thing with Stephanie for the past few weeks anyway. So I'm like, all right, let's see what they do. They end up just in a pull-them-apart brawl. I think they've been watching a little too much Raw and SmackDown. They're like, let's do the chaos thing. But I'm okay with this only because it's Jada and Jordan Grace. I mean, that's a pretty fun brawl. Way more than Tiffany and Charlie, man. So they start brawling it to pull them apart, and it's decided that the North American title will be defended at Stand and Deliver in a 6-women ladder match, and qualifying would start immediately with Lash Legend versus Zarya. And before I talk about this, let me just go over that match real quick. Zarya would pin Legend via Brock Lesnar's F5. I'm not a fan of vacating the title, necessarily. But I am looking forward to this ladder match. I don't know why. I'm not a fan of schmaz matches either, guys. You guys know that. My veteran subscribers will tell my new subscribers, I don't like schmaz matches. And WrestleMania, the whole week, even including NXT, is probably going to be a bunch. The main event was announced last night. Trick, Javon, and Oba. Even that's a triple threat. You mix up the 27 schmaz matches you're going to get on the Mania main card. I mean, it's just going to be schmazamania. So I'm not a fan of that particularly, but man, when you're taking the NXT females, which I feel is the best division for females in the whole wrestling world, and you're putting 6 of your best in this ladder match with a title hanging on the line, I got to tell you, man, we don't have a lot of announced matches for Mania right now, the main card, but what we do have and what we believe is going to be announced within the next 2 weeks, this NXT matchup is what I am looking forward to the most. This ladder match with these ladies. So I'm not a fan of schmaz matches. I'm not necessarily a fan of vacating that title. But what it leads to, I'm pumped for. So that is my thoughts on Stephanie relinquishing and this kind of these qualifying matches to get to this ladder match in a couple of weeks. Stand and Deliver, which will be the afternoon of night 1 of WrestleMania, Saturday afternoon. And there'd be another huge match coming up that we're going to talk about, Rok-C Kelani qualifying. Whoa, I was like, that's a what? And I got something to say about Rok-C too, about main roster, then bounce back and taking another. Oh, do I have something to say about that? But first, I'm about to give so much damn praise to this next segment, and it was just a pre-record. An actual television segment. Nothing to do in the ring, nothing in the arena or the performance center. This was Tony D, and he wants intel on the Dark State. What the fuck was this? What the fuck was it? I mean, I literally put that in my notes. Like, this was so fucking well done. So well done. The family starts giving stats to Tony D on each member of Dark State. And they're going over their college statistics and what sports they played and what damage they did in those sports and how powerful they are, their size, all these stats. And each member is giving Tony D each member, like each member of the family has a different page for one of Dark State. And this was not only incredibly entertaining, which is always a plus, but incredibly effective. Like, do you guys understand what you're doing here? First of all, the way that it was shot and everything, the way that it was produced. I mean, you could have spent 10, 15 minutes on this. This was like a good television show. This was better than a Law and Order SVU or at that point, it could be a Sopranos scene. I mean, you were into it. But effective because what have I been saying about Dark State? They're a bootleg Retribution, and that's saying something because Retribution was really bad. But what is this? Every week they just show up in the crowd, they clap, they smile, and then the lights go out and that's it. Or they attack some people. I mean, it's bad. It's really bad. But for the first time last night, I actually started to give a shit about these individuals, man. They're showing the pic, the bio, they're giving the stats. Tony D's taking it all in, and you're like, damn, like that is how you build wrestlers and stars and character. That's how you build intrigue, at least. Like, you're putting focus in an interesting, entertaining way on these relatively unknowns. You're learning more about Dark State than you would in 6 months of just watching them run out there and do attacks or having regular matchups where commentators are trying to tell you some of their backstory. This was not only incredibly entertaining, it was incredibly effective. I couldn't believe what I was watching, man. And of course, you still have that side tension with Stacks and Tony D. This time, Tony D saying, trust me, because Stacks wants to go to war instantly. It's like a Sopranos scene, right? Now that we know all this, I say we attack now, Tony. You know, T. He calls him T, just like Paulie Walnuts and everybody would for Tony Soprano. They just call him T. So I say we attack now, T. Now's the time. And Tony D'Angelo's like, sit on it. Wait. We're not just going to jump. We're not going to make mistakes. We're going to do this correctly. You got to trust me. Remember, he was asking last week if he can trust Stacks. And Stacks looks at him like, wrong decision. How many times you see this in these type of shows and movies where the next guy up, he doesn't feel like that leader is doing a good enough job, and he feels like the fan would be in better hands if it was him running it. But how do you tell T that? T's not going to like that. And Stacks doesn't really have the balls to do such anyway, so Stacks just kind of takes off with everybody else eventually. But this was just so... I can't even praise it enough. I was like into it, man. And it dawned on me like, damn, am I actually giving a shit about Dark State? Wild, man. Wild. And then hour one ends with no quarter catch, defeating a Hank and a Tank. This was a boring, pointless matchup, just like last week's Hank-Tank match, which was another loss to Tyson and Tyreek, I believe. So I have to ask, is Hank and Tank just a bathroom break? Like, I'm being serious. Like, why would you have such a pointless match last week with Tyreek and what was his name? Tyson? And Hank and Tank just lose. It's just a weird match. It was boring. It seemed pointless. There was nothing. It doesn't seem like there's a reasoning. And then this week, they put Hank and Tank in the same type of situation. Pointless, meaningless, doesn't seem like there was any value to it. And they just look up at the lights, this time for no quarter catch. Very odd. Then we went to hour number 2. Check this out. Hour 2, NXT for 125, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and Oba Femi promo. Leads to Ava declaring a triple threat title match at Stand and Deliver. Of course. Why get really creative and really build suspense for a champion and a challenger? Old school. Let's just add more and more in, right? Today's fan, more the merrier. I get to see all my favorite stars. And for creative, it's easy. It's lazy. Just throw everybody in there. And it's just oversaturated. I could see if once in a while we were getting a triple threat or a fatal 4. It's all the time. And not just that, I can't even say I'm too down with this. I have not been intrigued at all with Trick, Oba, and Javon. I know the big story is Trick is about to turn heel, maybe even join up with Dark State. Did he get beat up last night too? Because the lights would go out and Dark State attacked. I know I definitely saw Oba attacked. I saw Javon attacked. I forget if Trick got attacked. If he didn't, then yeah, it's pretty obvious he's turning. I thought there was a moment where he got beat up too by Dark State. I don't know, but there is that Trick Williams teasing that heel turn. So I understand that. That's a little bit of intrigue. But the way that they've been doing this every week with just the lights going out, Dark State, there's an attack, they clap, they smile. So it's just been like, I'm trying to get to the point of caring about these three going at it. And I can't say this did it, man. I just feel like it's the same thing every week. They all say some words, the lights go out, there's Dark State, attack. I don't know. There's a couple weeks left. 2 more, I believe, right? 2 more NXT shows. Maybe I'll get to that point. But because it's a triple threat too, it's just so oversaturated, I'm already checked out on this. But then, the matchup that BC was all in. If you follow this channel, 2 of my favorite females on the planet in pro wrestling, Rok-C and Kelani Jordan. HBK had them facing each other last night to qualify for this women's ladder match for the North American title. Rok-C, Kelani Jordan, 2 of my favorite gals in the entire industry. Kelani pins Rok-C with her split-legged moonsault. Kelani moves on to the ladder match at Stand and Deliver. Wow. And it was clean, guys. Clean. Roxanne Perez, Rok-C looking up at the lights. There's a couple of different things that I would have to speak on here, and it pertains to each lady. So I'll start with Rok-C. Why was Rok-C called up to the main roster when you had nothing for her? Because they didn't. Hunter had nothing. They called her up anyway. She's in a couple of matches, and then all of a sudden she's off TV. Everyone's like, where's Roxanne? Where's Rok-C? She's back in NXT. She's having a match, and she's putting Kelani over, and she's looking up at the lights. You guys know how against this I am. And we talked about this several weeks ago. Once Roxanne lost her last match, we said, that's got to be it. I'm fine with it. She's on the main roster now. Don't keep having her go back like they did Braun Breaker and so many others just to put other people over. You can't. Because Roxanne has to have some momentum when she gets to the main roster. Nobody's going to believe in her. We're all going to remember how many people just whooped her ass and now she's on the main roster and supposed to beat them. I'm so against this. This is lazy. They brought Roxanne back just to take an L and look up at the lights. Now, on the flip side, of course Kelani is more than capable and should be beating people like Roxanne because she's so damn good. I say it all the time. Mercedes Moné is the best female wrestler that I've ever seen, actual wrestling-wise. But Kelani Jordan has all of the makings to be next in line, and she's still brand new to this. Imagine Kelani in a year or two. I say, why did she even lose that North American title in the first place? Fallon fucking Henley? What are we talking about? Kelani had that title, was making it prestigious, was defending it, was having good matchups. And she just loses it. And then Kelani wasn't really the same booking-wise after. It's like beginning of the line, but Kalani's too good for that. Or end of the line, I should say. So, yeah, her winning a match like this, fuck yeah. But Roxanne losing clean like that, looking at the lights, that also was a little unsettling. I was like, wow, man. But watching them go at it last night, I was like, give them 45 more minutes. PC's good with it, man. Rok-C comes back to NXT to eat another L, look up at the lights. Big match, win, W for Kelani. Kalani's going to stand and deliver. We're going to see Kelani, man, in that ladder match. And then there was a backstage segment with Zarya and Sol Ruka. And Sol Ruka informed Zarya that she has a qualifier next week. And I was like, you're damn right you better. Because at first I thought they were just having Sol because Zarya goes, I want you out there in my corner at Stand and Deliver. And she's like, yeah. I was like, what do you mean? Yeah, she should be. Sol Ruka's one of the most athletic, most badass, wow, wrestlers I've come across, female-wise especially. Like the things she does in the ring is immaculate. It gives you that wow factor. She's got to be in a ladder match. So she looked at Zarya and said, yeah, next week I got a qualifier. So, and she better win that. You can't have an NXT ladder match without Sol Ruka. And then it was the main event. I couldn't believe it, man. Ricky Saints, formerly known as Ricky Starks in All Elite Wrestling. He took on Shawn Spears, formerly known as Shawn Spears, the chairman over in All Elite Wrestling. Ricky Saints defeats Shawn Spears via pinfall to become the new North American champion. Ricky Starks just showed up last month, and he is wearing gold. Post-match, Ethan Page, formerly known as Ethan Page in All Elite Wrestling. Ethan comes out and drops Ricky Saints as we go off the air. And AEW Talent Triangle, if you think about it, right? This is all the AEW talent they just got, or Sean's been there for a minute, but, well, Ethan's kind of been there for a minute now. But this is all the AEW talent that they kind of have, like, circling around this championship in NXT. It's kind of wild, right? They kind of did Spears dirty, there's no doubt, man. I really feel he was trying to make that title prestigious and carry it with a lot of weight. And they just took it from him on an NXT, not even at Stand and Deliver. Now, do they make this a triple? Maybe they find a way to put... Well, no, you can't, because you already have the world title triple threat. So this just has to be Ethan Page, Ricky Saints straight up at Stand and Deliver. But it's just, it sucks for Shawn Spears. He was really trying to do something with that title. Really felt that this was his time, his moment. And they just had Ricky Saints take the title from him on an NXT show weeks before Mania weekend. And not even at Stand and Deliver. So yeah, they did Spears dirty for sure. This was huge for Ricky Saints. 1 month, championship gold. And they reminded everyone not to forget about Page. So I felt a lot was accomplished, whether in a good way or not. Headlines galore to end NXT. And Ethan Page has to lay off those tight pants, bro. There's tight pants, which I'm against, by the way, anyway, because BC's thinking, like, how are your boys breathing? Like, I don't know. Maybe there's lack of package, so they don't care. I don't know. BC doesn't have that issue. So the issue is I couldn't do tight pants if I had to. It can't be done. But there's tight pants, and then there's like shopping in the basically like the kids section if you're Ethan Page. Like it's 12 sizes too small. I mean, the end of the pants are just below his knees, it seems. They're so tight, you're wondering how can the dude even move? I don't know who told Ethan this was a good idea, man, but tight pants are getting carried away. There's tight pants, and then there's like a stone's throw away from jorts. I'm just throwing out some constructive criticism out there, man. Ethan! Pants are at least to the ankle, man, or top of the ankle? Can we compromise? So it's not like all weird for the viewer that is watching, because a bit too tight, bro. A bit too tight, no? 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 I come from a different era, man. I don't know. Men today are willing to just wear tight, I don't know, bro. But NXT, man, wow. You talk about headlines. Stephanie alone would have been a headline upon a headline. The ladder match for Stand and Deliver. Man, the talent that's going to be in that. Ricky Saints getting championship gold. What? The Intel. The Tony D fam segment. What? NXT. I know a lot of you guys didn't watch it. I don't blame you, right? I mean, it's not like they're giving you a reason to every week. I can't say it's must-see TV. But BC caught it for you. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not saying you got to go back and watch the whole show, but I'm glad you grabbed your beverage, you sat back and you shot the shit with BC, and you let BC tell you exactly what happened, man. Hopefully I got you caught up, but hopefully I got you going, maybe if I ever have time, I'll check out some of this. I can't say next week or the week after will be as good as this, but Shawn Michaels said if Hunter's not going to do the job, I'll put WrestleMania on my back. I'll rock out some good television. All right, that's what I got for you guys, man. Perhaps we went a little over our time, but I'm my own boss. So you know what? I make my own damn time. And I say we did not go over time. Maybe I'll go another 20 minutes, actually. Let's talk about my New York Yankees real quick. And I'm kidding. That's it. Until next time, there will be that next time. Thanks for joining BC and Amped Up for 4/2/2025. 44 dive. That's a wrap. BC in the unit saying check you. Salut!